Good morning, everybody. Today, I'm going back to kind of an old subject that I did when I first started this channel. I'm at a Civil War reenactment called Hale Farm, and it's been a great weekend, but it's Sunday. And depending on the commander of the unit at the time, really, in regards to like grooming standards, it was very specific to the unit commander. Even though Jonathan Letterman specifically put out specific orders instructing the commanders to make sure that their soldiers are nice and trim and clean and things like that, to try to keep lice at bay, or those graybacks at bay, at least in the north, that's what they would call them. But here in Ohio, in the Army of the Cumberland or Army of Ohio, those kind of restrictions, like I said, depended from commander to commander, and it wasn't necessarily followed in regards to like nice, tight, clean, crisp beards. And that can be seen in various photographs from the Army of Ohio and Army of the Cumberland. Now today, we are going to use a historic soap, one that I've kind of discovered by accident. I found this really cool tin. Now this tin's not from the 1800s. This tin's from like the 1910s, 1920s, of Packers Tar Soap. Now Packers was a company that established in 1869. So we're talking 4 years after the American Civil War. During the American Civil War, lye soap would have been the common thing. They also had some perfumed soaps, but those would have been really expensive for your average person. Now U.S. soldiers, at least enlisted, was issued small, really small chunks of lye soap. Officers, you're expected to buy whatever you needed. So I am going to attempt for the first time, because I haven't done this, to shave with Packers Tar Soap. Now, I have bathed with this stuff, and it is really good. I love how it affects my hair after I get out of the shower. I love the smell because it smells like a campfire, and I just love campfire's smell. And it doesn't repulse my wife, which is always a plus. Whenever I get back from a reenactment or a camp out, she tells me to go straight to the shower because of it smelling like, B.O., campfire smoke, things like that. And the fact that this isn't repulsive to her, that's a huge win for me. Okay, so I know this stuff lathers pretty well, but I don't know if it's going to dry out before I can really do the shave or what. So this is a complete experiment. We're going to see how it goes. Come hell or high water, we're going to shave through it. So what you have to have when you do a historic shaving is like a cup, because this is what we're going to use to soak the brush, which I need to get my brush. And you also need to have a towel, preferably, that's soaking in hot water. That way you can wrap that around your bearded area, and that's going to soften the hairs. All right, and the straight razors I am going to use is from my original Civil War dressing kit. Now this one even has like a monogram on it. This is Moore from England. I love this straight razor. It took me a while to get it sharpened. A lot of times these old English steel razors takes a lot of love and care to finally get them sharp. But once they are sharp, boy, they stay sharp for a very long time. I have my handy dandy little brush. To be honest, this brush also dates from like the 1920s to 1940s. It's got this plastic handle, but it looks like it's bone. And the brush itself is made from a badger hair instead of a boar bristle brush. Boar bristle brushes were a lot more common in the 1800s, even the early 1900s. You had to pay a little bit more for the badger hair brush. But in regards to comfort, if you are new to wet shaving in this style, get yourself a badger hair brush. It makes all the difference in the world. All right, so we've had this soaking a little bit. As you can see, these old style brushes don't really floof out as much as our modern brushes. And I've got my soap here, and we're just going to get this into a lather. All I'm doing is just swirling it along. See how fast that was? Like it lathers so well. It's one of the things that made me pretty confident that this is likely going to be pretty successful. Got a nice creamy lather. It doesn't look wet. It looks nice and creamy. Okay, so there we got that. Got my towel. I want to drape that right around my neck, like so. And I'm just going to hold it here, not for even really a minute. I'm just trying to heat it up and moisten those hairs around my neck to soften them. So roughly about 30 seconds. And the heat helps a lot. If you do this with a cold towel, it doesn't work quite as right. You'll certainly get the hairs all moist and everything, but it's not going to soften the hairs and be as comfortable as a shave as if you did with a hot towel. I go back to my knowledge of history and wars and things like that, and oftentimes soldiers didn't have the luxury of having hot water, so they're out there, you know, especially like World War II, which wasn't that long ago. You got these guys who are shaving out of their helmets with just cold water. And man, I like that is so uncomfortable. And those guys had to do it regularly, like all the time. At least during the Civil War, you know, it wasn't, like I said, as enforced to be like a every other day shave. You know, you could get away with it for like a week or something. So maybe you could be at a point in your campaign or your journey that you could heat up some water to have a nice, comfortable shave if you opted or were allowed to shave in this way. All right. So it's probably as good as it's going to get. So we're going to put that towel back there. And now we're going to shave. I have a mirror right below me. Now it's a good idea to shave in sections. So I tend to go from right to left, and depending on where it is on my beard, I actually have to start off at a different angle because people's hair grows differently. I've had the pleasure of shaving other people. That's my officer right there talking about me shaving. And I promised him I would shave him this weekend too. So we want to make sure it's good and lathered. More the better, because that's going to give you the close shaveness, and it'll glide through the hair. All right, I think that's as good as it's going to get. All right, so now we got a straight razor. So on this side of my beard, I always shave downward, and on this side, I always shave upward for the first pass, and then I go opposite on the second pass to get closer. I don't shave more than I don't shave more than 2 passes. Always have a towel to wipe off the hair. And you want to shave going at about a 20 degree to 30 degree angle. And if the soap dries out, like as you can see this one has, then don't be afraid to reapply. You don't want to force it. You want to make sure you have that soap. Otherwise, you'll get abrasive bumps, affected hairs, that kind of thing. So wet shaving is not something you rush through. It's something you take your time with and you enjoy. Now I stropped this razor before I even came to camp because I knew that this was something I had planned. Normally, if I was shaving at home, I would strop this because I keep this up in my case and it's nice and oiled. So I wipe off the oil and then I strop it about 25 times on each side before I shave. And then after you get done shaving, you also strop your razor. Oh, the secret to a nice close shave is making sure your skin is taut. If it's loose, then there's a good chance, especially if you have some extra skin there, that you're going to accidentally cut yourself and nick yourself. So making sure your skin is taut is really important. Now, when you're field shaving, that can be kind of difficult because you're also at the mercy of the angle of your mirror. Like right now, I'm looking down, I can only lift my head so far up, but my mirror is downward. So I could have my mirror up here placed about me, and honestly, if I wasn't doing this video, I probably would have a mirror that is more face level than down to help me. All right, now that is the first pass. And honestly, that was really comfortable. So this soap, even though it's not a shaving soap per se, did a wonderful job. There was no tugging or pulling. If you ever feel tugging or pulling from your straight razor, then you need to change out your straight razor or sharpen your straight razor. Either strop it or take it back to the hones. Now, for me, I have so many straight razors in my rotation that I can go a whole year without, going through and taking them to the hones. Now I strop them regularly every time, but I have to touch them up on a 10,000 grit hone about once a year. And some of them can even go longer than that. But I shave usually once or twice a week. So I'm not a daily shaver or an every other day shaver. Okay, so on this side, I went down. So now I'm going to go up. And since I was very careful and I kind of went down in little bits on the first time, because my hair was fairly long. It's been a week or maybe a little bit more than a week than I shaved. So now the second pass is a lot faster. Now I have a problem spot right here. So if I don't shave upward, even though I went down the first time, or even though I went up the first time, then I get hair issues, follicle issues. So in this area of my neck, I still go up. I do a second pass of going up instead of going the opposite direction. And that's something you have to learn based off of your own hair. When I shave other people, I always ask them, because especially grown men, they generally have an idea about how their hair grows. Now there are some clues that you can look for in regards to how the hair lays, but it's always a good idea to ask them so you don't make a mistake. And if you feel it tugging, don't force it. Just go the direction that makes it comfortable. And there you go. There is my wet shave. Now, I always rinse off with the warm towel. And then I cool down with a cold towel. Now a trick that you can do to get a cold towel is just wring it out like so, run it through the air, and that cools it down really well. There we go, nice and cool. And that's it, you're done. So you apply your aftershave or your balm, whatever works for you. And that's how you wet shave. Now, if you are familiar with my channel recently, we got the Preston Mess Kit that is being produced right now. It is in the scanning phase. This upcoming Wednesday, I'm going to go down to Cincinnati and get this scanned. Going to have a recording of the interview with the engineer and everything, and that I'll send that out to those of you who purchased the mess kit. If you haven't already, in the description box below, you can sign up to get the Preston Mess Kit. We are producing 500 for sure. So far, I think that's probably all we're going to produce, at least for the time being, because the support, to make more just isn't there at this time. But maybe this video will reach a lot of people that really want a Preston Mess Kit. Now, if that's the case, then we'll certainly order more than 500. But we have 500 for sure. We are starting to run out of Preston Mess Kits for that purchase option. So if you want in on it, now's the time to do it. In the description box below, click the link, put your name on it. I'll send you an email with the purchase link. I don't want to put the purchase link in the video because, I don't want to have a dead link on this video. So again, thank you to everyone who has supported this project. It's really exciting. And at the end of this video, if you've never heard of the Preston Mess Kit, I will show you the Preston Mess Kit and all of its components and how to use it. And I even have a playlist of cooking and stuff, and the Preston Mess Kit is demonstrated in there. Now, something that has also come up is we're going to do a cookbook. We're going to do a community cookbook. So if you are interested in getting the Preston Mess Kit, if you purchase it, you will also get a community cookbook. People are submitting their recipes, which I encourage you to do, whether it be a modern recipe or a historic recipe. Just make sure to cite your source, even if it's grandmama's recipe, because grandmama worked really hard on that recipe to fill our tummies and give us deliciousness. So make sure to cite that, and I will include it in a community cookbook, and that will be sent out along with the Preston Mess Kit. So you can cook right off the bat, and the proportion will be suited specifically for the Preston Mess Kit. So I appreciate everybody who's going to participate in that, and it is your chance to do it. Now, last thing, if you haven't joined the Camp Crafters Guild, now's the time to do it. It's 100% free. If you like camping, if you like hiking, backpacking, bushcrafting, or woodcrafting, as we historic people like to call it, or whatever outdoor adventure, then the Camp Crafters Guild is the place for you. We'd love to have you around our campfire. All right, so you can go to www.honorableoutfitters.com/join the guild. Can't wait to see you and talk to you on there. We have monthly challenges. It's a great time. All right, now if you would like to see the video of the Preston Mess Kit and all of its different components, you can click right here. If you'd like to see a playlist of my various videos, you can click right here. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss and hug to your loved ones. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.